Hi everybody, it's Ginell Cooper. Hey, so today what we're gonna do is we are gonna take a piece of a panel, I guess, of planned pooling. Try and say that 5 times fast. A panel planned pooling, and we're going to see what we can make with it. So the reason for this video, first of all, if you came to this video to learn how to do planned pooling, this is not that video. That is the video that I did before this one, and I will link it up here in the corner. It'll also be in the description so that you can get to it, and that'll teach you exactly how to do this with variegated yarn. But if you're anything like me and you went down the rabbit hole and you did a whole bunch of them just to kind of practice, you may find yourself with a bunch of panels and how many scarves can you have, right? So you might want to make something cool out of it, but you just can't figure out what. This was an old ball of yarn that was in my closet for probably years that I didn't know what to do with because it was just a little bit too bright for my life. I love it, it's beautiful, but it just doesn't go with like my decor and stuff. So I made this and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool looking. I just can't let it just disappear. So it needs to be used. And so I had some suggestions on my Facebook group, and one of the suggestions that came up was making it into a market bag. And I think that is a great idea. So that's what I'm gonna attempt to do on this video so you can see how I do it. And you can do it with any panel that you use. It doesn't have to be planned pooling, but if you do happen to have planned pooling panels that you want to work with, this will be a great thing to do it with. So here's my plan. First of all, this is acrylic yarn, and acrylic yarn is super stretchy, see that? But it doesn't stretch as much this way. So when you're making a market bag, you definitely don't want it to stretch too much, because if you put heavy stuff in there, it's just gonna hang down and just not be cool, right? So this is already done. I'm trying to find a way to use it. So instead of trying to like redo it in some way, I'm going to use this, but I'm going to make the sides, I'm gonna build out the sides. I'm gonna go this direction so that it's this way. But I'm also gonna do it more baskety. So we're gonna use 2 strands of yarn and a smaller hook, and it's gonna be a little bit more baskety than if it was just a regular piece of, or a panel of fabric. And hopefully that'll give it the stability that we want it to have. So we're gonna do that from here all the way across, right? And then we'll sew it up the sides. And then up here, we're going to add a sort of a band up here and then a handle on there. So what I'm gonna do first is I found myself there's a lot of colors to choose from in here. Luckily, I had a lot. I actually have this perfect red, but I like it better with orange. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 2 strands of orange, and I'm gonna make basically a border on this side. And then I'm gonna come in with 2 strands of white, and I'm going to make the rest of the basket that way. So how I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna off camera do this side. Then on camera, I'm gonna do this side so you can see exactly what I did. And then we'll do the top band together. And then we'll have a cute little market bag, hopefully, that won't be too stretchy. That's the plan. So gather up your materials. If you have a panel that you already have done, great. If you need to make a panel, go back to my last video, which is, I'm not sure what I'm gonna name it yet because I just filmed it today, but I think it's gonna be Planned Pooling the Easy Way. It was my last one, and that shows you how to do planned pooling. You can make a little practice swatch like this with a piece of whatever yarn you found that works. There's so many to choose from, and that video has a list in it of different yarns that you can use to go out and find and all that. It also kind of tells you in that video how to find yarn that does what this does. It's actually pretty easy. A lot of variegated yarns out there do it. So anyway, so once you've made your panel, and you can make it as long or as short as you want, your bag can totally be that short. It can be longer, whatever you want. There's no measurement needed on this. If you need to know, I know a lot of people like to know exactly what I'm doing. So if you need to know, this one is about 11.5 inches. So it's 23 inches long total. But really all I did was I just did the yarn until it ran out. Anyway, let me go ahead and do that. I'll come back with this side done, and then we'll do this side together, and then we'll do the top band together. Ready? Ta-da! One side Done. Okay, so here's what I did. It's so simple. It almost doesn't even need a video to explain it to you. So I just took the panel that I made, I took one side of it, and I just single crocheted across one side. But I did it with 2 pieces of yarn in whatever color you choose to do. I just happen to have orange is one of my favorite colors. I kind of went through all the colors of this rainbow and decided on which one I wanted for my bag. So you do 2 strands, and then I picked a small hook. So I basically picked the hook size for 1 strand, and then I doubled it up. And what that does is it makes it more baskety and kind of stand up on its own, and it keeps it from being too stretchy. So if you notice, what happened was it stretched this out, because this is super stretchy, right? And that's kind of what we're trying to avoid on a market bag, because as soon as you put stuff in there, it weighs it down and gets like, it just droops, right? And hangs down too far. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna repeat this on this side. I'm gonna kind of do it for you on camera so you can see it, but honestly, it's super easy. I'm just gonna show you maybe the first row. Then I'm gonna show you how I joined it. This join, I love this join. I think it's actually called I wanna say the zipper join. I always get the zigzag and the zipper confused, but I think this is the zipper join. But what's really cool, it looks really cool on this side because it makes it like this perfect little line. It's like nice and clean, but it also looks really good on the inside. So I might actually do that zipper join on both sides and then flip it inside out so it looks kind of complete. And what it does is it makes it more sort of, I wouldn't say rounded, but not so pointy on the bottom of the bag, like so. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, but for now, we'll keep it this way, like this, and then I'm gonna add on to this side over here. You can do whatever colors you want. I got 2, I actually took some of this out and made it into a ball so that I have 2 strands of this color. It looks like this is just single crochet, guys. And then I got 2 of my other color. Luckily for me, these are left over from that huge sale, I think it was last February at Walmart, where those were like 69 cents each, those huge skeins. So that's what I'm gonna do on this side. You can do whatever you want. I think I did 4 rows, 2 rows, 2 rows, and then whatever rows I needed. This looks like 2, 4, 6 rows over here. And then I just did the join on the sides. This is just acrylic yarn, nothing special. It's probably, this feels a little softer than Red Heart, but it's probably something like that, something very inexpensive. I always do the inexpensive stuff on baskets and bags because it's stiffer and you want it to be stiffer on those. I think I actually did a standing single crochet. You can do a chain 1 if you want, whatever you're most comfortable with. I like standing single crochets. It makes it nice, more square there on the side. So that is a standing single. Then you hold on to this and go to the next single crochet over, and then you can let go of that part right there. And then just do that all the way down. So I just tried to do, because you're not really doing rows. I mean, you are. So like this is a row, this is a row, this is a row. So like you just kind of want to grab a couple pieces in each row on the side there. So just do single crochet all the way down. It's gonna stretch it out, and that's okay. I think we went from 11.5 inches, I should show you. I think it's like 14 inches. It added a lot to it, but that's okay because you're basically stretching this panel to the max, and then that way when you put stuff in there, it's not gonna stretch it any further. In theory, right? Okay. So just keep doing that all the way to the other side, and then we will turn it and come back. And then I'm just gonna do 4 rows of orange, and then I'm gonna do, what did I do? 4 rows of orange, 2 rows of white, 2 rows of orange, and then I think I did 6 rows of white cream. And then I'll show you how to do the join. So just keep doing that back and forth. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna come down to the other end and then show you how to turn around and come back, just in case single crochet is new to you, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, I've come to the end. So all I'm gonna do really quickly is just show you basically, I'm just gonna chain up 1, turn it, and then do another row of single crochet on top of this one. You know how every single one of these videos is kind of a journey, right? To the destination. It always looks a little bit like what I had in mind, but then it ends up changing along the way. So it evolves in my brain. Okay, so I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna finish this row and then I'm gonna do 2 more rows of orange. I'll come back and check in with you because I'm gonna show you how to switch colors just in case you've never done that before. And then I'm gonna let you just have fun and do whatever design you want, whatever wide you want. Just make sure one side matches the other side. And then I'll show you how to do the join and then we'll work on the top part together. See how it does this kind of like concave right here? That might make me crazy. But maybe after you use it a couple times, it's probably gonna stretch it out anyway, so I don't think it's gonna bother me too much. It's not gonna matter up here because up here we're gonna frame it in. So it's just gonna be right there. But so anyway, here is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna change color really quickly, grabbing 2 strands of the cream color, and I'm just gonna pull that through right here. So when I, do this, I'm actually not gonna cut this because I'm only gonna do 2 rows of white. So I'm just gonna go this way and then back, and then I'm gonna just carry that up. And it's not gonna matter because, let's see if you can see it on here. See how it has this little carryover thread right there? That's basically what it's gonna look like because me carrying the yarn up, but it won't matter because we're gonna do an edge on top. So it'll cover it up. So that's why I'm not gonna try and cut it and then weave in my ends and all that stuff. So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and I pulled through those last 2. That was the end of the last stitch, right? So this is right before you pull through and finish that single crochet. I'm gonna go ahead and just pull through with a new color, and that makes it a nice clean finish right there. And then I'm just gonna chain up 1 and complete the rest of my rows on here. Okay, so I will meet you back when I get to the end of this so that these 2 sides match, and then we will do the join, and then we'll do the top edge. Okay, so I finished this side. I am not a huge fan of that. Also because this is nice and soft and this is very baskety. So I'm trying to decide what I can do to make that more cohesive. I'm considering doing like a seam on the inside to make it more stronger on like a frame or a structure. Or I'm considering adding on the bottom and maybe hanging tassels off of it and making it kind of bohemian looking. So I haven't decided that yet. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to decide it until I've seen what this looks like on top, and then I'll try and see what I like and I'll put it together. I'm always winging it, guys. Like that's just true. I'm always winging it. So what I'm going to show you right now is how to do this join on the sides, or how I did it before. So one thing you wanna do is you just wanna line up your yarn so it kind of goes inside like that. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna just chain up 1 just so that it's nice and smooth right there. And then I'm gonna I chose to go right, left. You can choose to go left, right, whatever is most comfortable for you. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab both pieces of yarn. So remember, there's 2 pieces of yarn there on each side. We're gonna use the inside loop of each of those, how do I say that? Of each of those stitches. So not the whole stitch, just the inside stitch. And we're gonna grab both sides. I think this is, oh, that's the chain 1. Okay, so we're gonna grab both sides, pull up your loop, and you're gonna pull it through both of them. And you kind of have to swivel there you go. That first one's a little loose, so we're gonna tighten it up just because that was like the beginning stitch right there. Okay, so now now that it's set up, you should just be able to go back and forth pretty easily. So I go right and then left, and then grab the loop, pull it through that loop, and then I think I was turning it this way. Yeah, pull it through that loop and then that one. So you're gonna keep going, just right, left. This is like the inside loops only, not the whole stitch. Turn it and go through. It's a little hard when you're working with multiple pieces of yarn like that. And then just keep doing that all the way till you get to the end. The end is a little bit tight because there's, you know, you run out of space. So I'll show you how I did the end part a little differently than the side pieces. And I believe this is called the zipper join. I actually taught it way back when I did the quarantine blanket, like our first project when I first started doing this. But it's been so long that I've kind of forgotten. But I always get the zipper join and the zigzag join mixed up because they're kind of similar. But this, I believe this is the zipper. Oops, make sure you don't accidentally, there. So you're kind of twisting your hook to go through, the easiest way to go through each loop in the right direction there. I'm going to continue doing this. I'll show you how I did the very end when I get to the end, and then we'll start working on this top section and what we're going to do with these little loops here. So see you in a minute. Okay, so I think the first thing you want to do is you want to decide what side, because now everything we're working is going to be front side on it or right side in the front. So you kind of want to decide if you want these seams to be on the inside or the outside. The inside is pretty nice, but I'm thinking if I'm going to create structure on the bottom of this, I think that I am going to continue this line across the bottom. Even if I don't add tassels or anything on the bottom, I still think I want to continue that line. So I think I'm gonna do everything as if these are on the outside. And I actually really like that seam. So yeah, so I think I'm gonna treat it that way. You can decide how to do it, whatever way is better for you. But for me, I think I'm gonna keep the seam on the outside. So to get started, I'm just gonna grab my 2 strands of cream to continue on. We have some crazy weather going on. It's April and it has been snowing, and right now we have like sleet coming down. And then the sun comes out and then it does it again. It's crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with a standing single crochet because I think that's just my favorite way to start. It's just like a nice solid beginning. And I just started wherever. Actually, I think I'm gonna start a little bit inward just because I don't like the seams to all be lined up right next to each other because then it gets kind of bulky. So we're gonna start right there. And then I'm just gonna do single crochets all the way across just like we did before, just like we're making a basket because that's pretty much what we're doing. And then what we're gonna do is when we go around, we're not going to join that together because that'll create a seam right there. Instead, we're just going to continue on as if that wasn't there. So right now, probably the best thing to do would be to grab a stitch marker and mark your row just so you know how many rows you've done. Obviously, these are going the other direction. That first row would be an easy one to figure out, right? But after you've done a few rows, then it might not be as easy to figure out. So I'm gonna mark it just so I know where the beginning is. And then when we go around, we're gonna do the final single crochet right here, and then we're just gonna do the next single crochet right here and just continue around in a spiral without making a join. That'll keep us from having a seam right there. So go ahead and make it as tall as you want before your handles, and then we're gonna do a few more rows after the handle. So let's stop where you want the handles to be, and then I'm gonna do an edge on top of that. By the way, I'm gonna find these online and link them in the description for you so it's easy to find. These, you can use any handles you want. I just like the more rectangular ones because then it keeps it flatter and it doesn't like bunch up like the round ones do, but you can do whatever you like. I'll try and find these. I just got these at Joann's, but you can probably find them online too. as far as placement goes, like you just know that you just do one for each row. And if they're, because you're working on the side of the row right now, so there's like, that's the row going the other direction, this is the row coming this direction, that you'll start to identify like where is the end of the row. But if it does seem like it's getting bunchy or wavery, that's not a word, fanning on top, that means that you have too many stitches and it's kind of starting to warble a little bit. Then you want to kind of bring your stitches together, or maybe skip a stitch now and then, just to keep it from getting too crazy up there and make it nice and straight. Oh, so here, just like we did before, or I guess we haven't done it on this one, just here, just remember that this is actually 2 stitches at the bottom of these. This was a chain 1 and a single crochet. So it's fine if you want to just do 1 single crochet, if you want to kind of keep that structure together, and so it's not so, you know, like spread out. But if you want to, every once in a while, put an extra stitch in there, because technically that is 2 stitches. See how it's starting to get kind of, but I kind of like it being sort of, it keeps it from stretching. We'll see what it looks like when I get across. If it's too tight, then I'll maybe go in and add some extra stitches in there. There's a lot of freedom in making stuff up as you go, but you also kind of have to be prepared to undo it and redo it a lot to get the look that you want. That's pretty flat, right? So I think we'll stick with that. So I said I wasn't gonna see you again until we got to where the loop is, but I just wanted to show you, just in case you're new to doing a continuous crochet like a spiral, just kind of what it looks like. When you get to here, a lot of times people will tell you to slip stitch to join from this last stitch into the first one. But when you do that, it creates sort of this like, almost like crooked seam that you can see. So instead of doing that, I just go ahead and continue into this with a single crochet, just like you normally, as if nothing was a beginning or end right there. And then just continue onward without pulling in your extra yarn. There we go. So it's going to get a little bit tough in here because, and you probably kind of got used to it doing this, but when you're doing baskets and you're using a small hook with a lot of yarn, it can be kind of hard on the hands. So it's only for a few rows though. It's not too bad. Okay, so just continue around in single crochet until it's as tall as you want it to be, where you want the handle or the strap to hook in. And then I would go back and mark, just so that you know like where the beginning of each row is. I mean, it's kind of easy to tell right now because there's 2 stitches and there's 1, but you know, if you decide to do a really long one, you know, it won't be as easy to tell. So I like to mark it, just makes it easier. Okay, continuing on. Okay, so we are there. I did 5 rows. Looks like it's gonna be a nice solid band on top there, which is the goal. So now what I'm gonna do, I stopped 1 stitch before the end. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3. Oh no, here we go. I stopped 1 stitch. I stopped 1 stitch into this one, and I'm gonna do 1 stitch into this one. So it'll be 4 total. So it'll be, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 into this ring. And how we're gonna do that, super easy. You're just gonna take it and go through the ring as well as the stitch. We'll see if 4 is too many. Nope, because I think 3 is too small. There. So that's how that works. So now you're just going to continue do the same thing on the other side so it matches. So like right there, and then continue going until you have it as high as you want it to be. I think I might finish it with a crab stitch on top, just because I always like the look of that rolled crab stitch. I use it on probably every basket I do all the time. So I'm gonna do a couple more rows and then I'll show you how to do the crab stitch, and then we will talk about this because I definitely feel like this needs something. Okay, look at that, it's coming together, except that, which we're gonna fix. And I think I actually even know what stitch I'm gonna put on the bottom there to kind of make it go with the top as well. So first I wanna show you, this is like, I just like how solid looking that is. So it's like, it's just gonna be a nice, as long as I can make the strap be nice and strong, then the rest of this is gonna be a good structure. Because for me, there's nothing more frustrating than a bag that just stretches all over the place, right? So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna show you really quick how to do this crab stitch. You've probably seen me do it. If you've seen my other videos, you've seen me do it tons of times because I use it all the time. So, but it's just a very simple edging that's just a little bit fancier than just leaving it the way it is. You can just leave it the way it is if you want to. And if that's what you wanna do, in order to finish this row, all you wanna do is just slip stitch into this next one, and then maybe the one after that, and that'll kind of like slowly make the row go down so that it's not like, doesn't have like a bump there. But I actually like doing the crab stitch because it really totally hides that, you know, the inconsistency right there on the edge and makes it look very like it all goes together. So I'm gonna do the same thing. So we ended with the single crochet. I'm gonna slip stitch into this next stitch. And then I'm gonna turn around and go back the way I came. So not the stitch that we just did, but the last single crochet. We're gonna twist back, and this is called a crab stitch, but it's also called a reverse single crochet, which is exactly what it is. You're basically just doing a single crochet the opposite direction you normally would. It takes a minute to get used to having so many pieces of yarn there. So see that the way it kind of leans to the left there, that's what we want. So we're gonna kind of go backward, grab your yarn, pull it up, it makes this kind of crisscross twist right there, and then you just finish it like you would finish a regular single crochet, and it makes that kind of rolled edge. It really is my favorite finishing edge because, and it has a nice, like when you get to the end, when we come back over here and we bring it all together, you can't even tell that there's a beginning or an end. It just goes together very well, which is one of the things I like about it. So I'm just gonna continue doing this all the way around till we get back to the beginning, and then I'll show you how to weave in the ends so that it has a nice finish there. Just like that. Takes a minute to get used to that twist, but once you do, it's pretty easy. Okay, so I will meet you. See how cool that is? It's just a nicer finish than just a plain single crochet. So I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so we are coming around to the beginning again. So I'm just going to show you how I finish this part. Okay, so this is the stitch that you did a slip stitch into, and then headed back the other way. So we're gonna go into that stitch so that we don't have a gap here. Okay, so normally when you come to the end, I usually like knot it and then weave my ends in, but this time I'm not gonna knot it. I'm just gonna pull the ends out. Because technically it's already knotted, right? Like they always are. You don't really have to do that extra slip stitch to knot it. But I just do it to keep things secure. But in this reason, we don't need to. We've got like 4 pieces of yarn knotted in there together, so it's fine. So go ahead and just put your needle together there. That was not graceful. Okay. Then what we're gonna do is, instead of, usually what I do is I'll grab something and then I'll go back the way I came and then I'll go back this way. It's the back and forth method. But in this case, we're actually gonna continue it through the first part of the row so that it just kind of pulls it all together and makes it look kind of magically like one row without a start or finish. And the deal on this is you don't want to pull it too tight. You want it to just kind of magically like sync up with each other like that. And then you can go ahead and do your back and forth. So go down and grab like a piece of yarn that is not visible really. Oops. Try not to lose your... And then just go back the way that you came. So you came in this way, we grabbed a little piece of yarn down there, and now we're gonna go back exactly the way that we came through. That's the back and forth method for weaving ends in. And what I'll do is, like, this was the last stitch, this was the first stitch. This one's a little looser than this one, so I'm gonna go through this one just to make sure that they kind of stay cohesive with each other. I just put lotion on. You ever try to grab a needle when your hands have lotion on them? Okay, there you go. And then you just trim that up. And that is all done. So we've got one hook on this side, we have one hook on this side. We're gonna make a strap that goes right here, a long one, so that it can be kind of a, you can kind of do it over your shoulder, not just over your shoulder, like almost like you're carrying, what do you call one of those, messenger bag type things, so that you can hang it over that way. But first, let's finish this bottom part so that it looks a little bit nicer. So I have two options of what I want to do on this bottom part. First, I'm just going to I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to connect these little single crochets that we did right here. Actually, it's kind of a slip stitch, but I'm going to connect this one to this one by just doing a row of single crochets across the bottom. Then I'm going to do a second row, because, you know, as you remember from this, one row was like not enough to make it nice and solid. So I'm going to do a second row, and I'm either going to do the crab stitch, which is really nice and solid, or there's another stitch that I was thinking about doing that is basically just double crochet and then a slip stitch and then double crochet and slip stitch, and it kind of does this, but just not so thick, like a little bit more, it almost looks like icing on a cake, kind of. So we'll see which one looks better. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on this side, and I'm just gonna bring in my yarn so that they just kind of connect over on that edge, just so that the continuity is there. The stitches might not look exactly the same because I'm going kind of the other direction, but well, let's just see what happens. For me, everything's kind of trial and error anyway. So I'm just gonna chain up one, and then I'm just gonna go through like the bottom, like it's bent, so you kind of can just grab the bottom edge there, and then just do a single crochet across the edge. It's not gonna do anything for you right here, because right here it's already really stiff. What we want it to do is we want it to stiffen up the bottom of where the panel is that has the pooling on it. Not all of my ideas work out, guys, so this may never make it to the video. There's a nice feel right there to that continuity. You could probably make it even better, but why? I mean, I could probably make it more perfect, but I don't think anybody's gonna notice or care, and so I'd rather stick all of my energy into just getting it done, making it look pretty. Okay, so we're getting into this area where it's the panel part, and the panel part is, this is gonna be a little bit interesting because of the moss stitch, we've got, like, you know, it could go right through the middle. Where are we gonna put it? Let's put it off to the side. Oh, it kind of went through the middle anyway. I mean, technically we should probably put it through every stitch, so let's just put it through the middle of those stitches, kind of like a waistcoat stitch. You can place it wherever you want. I'm just trying to make it look nice in the front. So I'm basically splitting those single crochets down the middle. Now, if you wanted to match the top, remember on the top we didn't do every single stitch, we did one every other. or every, like we did 2 singles and then 1 double. So I'm just gonna do this and see if if it's not too ripply on the bottom, because I may just end up going back and undoing it if I think if there's too many stitches going on there. Seems like it's laying pretty flat. If you feel like, you can tell because it'll start to kind of lean this way if you've got too many stitches going, and if you feel that, you can just like skip a stitch, like go from this red one straight over to this yellow one, skip that kind of blue in the middle, and it'll be like that little blue one was never there, and then kind of continue on your merry way. It kind of helps to make it not so full of stitches there. Okay, so I'm getting to the end corner here, so I'm gonna go over and grab this seam on the side so it kind of continues it. I think I'm gonna slip stitch into it because remember we chained 1 on the last one, so I'm gonna do a slip stitch on the end here just to kind of keep it sort of matching the other side. Phew, didn't want it to be easy on me. Okay. Oh, okay, so now I'm gonna chain up 1 and I'm gonna go back the way I came. That's a little bit ruffly. Let's see if it fixes itself. I'm gonna do 1 more row just plain, see if it straightens itself out, and then we'll do like the fancy edging on it. I do feel like I've gone across this and I feel like it could be a little bit tighter. So I'm gonna show you really quickly how to do that decrease that I was talking about earlier. And all you do is you just pull up a loop, pull up another loop, and then you just go through both of them just like you would for a single crochet. And it looks like you got 2 stitches there, but they come together to make 1, and it just kind of pulls it all together. And you can do it, I'm probably gonna do it like 3 times across this little panel part. So I've got 1 already, I'll do 1 in the middle, and then I'll do 1 to the other side. So it's kind of, you know, just so that it's symmetrical, it all goes together. So probably right here at this point would be a good spot to do it. This will be a good place to do it right here. So I'm just gonna do 1 here, 1 here, pull it together just like that, and then just keep going. I'm only taking 3 stitches out. I'm not doing a lot. It was just enough to kind of just tighten it up a little bit. It was a little ruffly. And I'm not being precise because nobody's gonna be able to see where it is, but just kind of a feel. So like over here, I kind of did it like in this area. So I'm gonna kind of do it right here too. I really like this frame that it's creating. I was a little worried that it was gonna look kind of like I just kind of fudged it, you know, to make it work, but now I think it actually looks like it's supposed to be there. So good, that's the point, right? I'm gonna keep doing this, and then when I get to the end, I'm gonna show you the 2 choices. I mean, you've already seen the crab stitch, so I will show you the other one I had in mind, and we'll see which one I like better, which one I use on the bottom. Okay, I think we got it. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you, if I were to do the crab stitch, I would probably do a slip stitch right here, because although I'm not really sure I like this rounded edge right here, I do know that I want both edges to match. So doing a slip stitch right there would probably do that. And then you just work your way back, just like we did before, into the stitch that you just, not that slip stitch, but this one that you just finished. And you're gonna go across that way and do a crab stitch all the way across the bottom. And then it'll, if you do a crab stitch, it'll probably just match the top and look great. Let's do part of it and see what it looks like. Oops, move the entire camera. That looks pretty good, right? Maybe that's what I'll do. So I'm gonna try this other one real quick and see if I like the other one. Let's see if I can move the camera back. There we go. So on the other one, what you would do, I think I'm still gonna slip stitch into this side just so that it kind of gives that rounded part. And then chain up one, turn it, and then you're going to double crochet into, let's start with the slip stitch just so that it's not like a big jog right there. It's supposed to be double crochet, slip stitch, double crochet, and then repeat, but you don't really want, like, you don't want it to be start off with a double crochet. So, so let's do, or maybe you do, that's up to you, I guess. So we'll do a double crochet here, and then a slip stitch. And then double crochet. And then slip stitch. Yeah, I don't think it's very pronounced. I don't think it's gonna work for me. I think we're gonna do a crab stitch. I think I like it better. It's kind of, it's fine. Yeah, I think I like the crab stitch better. So let's do that just to match the top. Hey guys, I think this is the last stitch. I love that that just gave it a really nice base. Like, no, it's not pulled up as much on the bottom anymore. And of course, the more you use it, it's gonna get a little bit stretched. So it's gonna be nice and flat on the bottom, way better than it was. And I like how the bottom and the top sort of match each other. So that's cool. This is the last stitch. I'm just gonna do the final crab stitch here. And then I'm just gonna pull the yarn out. And just like we did before, I'm gonna weave in my ends in a way that will make it kind of smoothly blend in with that corner right there. And I'll probably do the same over here with these ends, just kind of like make it so that it's not so, I mean, I think it's fine just the way it is actually. You probably just weave it in just like that and it'll be fine, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. And then we're gonna work on the strap. Okay guys, so I have gone back and forth on how I want to do this strap. There was a special stitch that I saw on Pinterest that I didn't know the name of, but it looked like it would be really cool. It seemed a little bit like Tunisian crochet, but not quite. And I kind of fell victim to the whole like, that looks really easy. And then I tried to do it with the yarn that I was using. They were using some kind of ribbon yarn, and I tried to do it with the yarn I was using, and it does not work. So we're gonna do this. The strongest strap that I can think of is Tunisian crochet. Don't freak out. I'm gonna show you the easiest way to do it, okay? So all I want you to do to start off, I'm gonna do 4 stitches because that's how many stitches we had on the other side of the ring. So you're just gonna chain 4. Okay? Then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna go in and grab the back bump. There should be 3 of them. Well, there should be 2 in the middle and then 1 on the outside. And you're just gonna pull up a loop, leave it on the hook. Pull up a loop. I'm still doing this with 2 pieces of yarn, so it's a little bit on the different side. The final stitch, you always go through the whole stitch. It'll look better after we're going through the knot on this one, but it'll be different when we go through a regular stitch on the side. I'll show it to you. So now what you're gonna do, you've got 4 stitches, 4 loops on the hook. You're gonna wrap once and go through the first stitch, wrap, go through that, and then the next stitch. So it's 2 loops basically. Wrap, go through 2 loops, wrap, and go through 2 loops, okay? So now what you're gonna do, this loop right here counts as one of your stitches, and then you basically have 2 stitches in the middle and then the 1 on the end, okay? So you're just gonna go through where that stitch is. You'll see this like sort of, it almost looks like it's a loop. You can see the whole loop right there. Hopefully you can see that. See, it's almost like a horseshoe right there. You're gonna go through the front part. So right through the middle of it, but bring the hook to the front. And then you're gonna wrap, pull up a loop, leave it on the hook. Do the same thing with the next one. Wrap, pull up a loop, leave it on the hook. With the last one, we're essentially doing the same thing, but it goes straight to the back. And you wanna make sure that you get both of those loops on there, just like you're doing a regular crochet, but off to the side. And then pull up a loop and leave it on there. That's essentially a knit stitch. Those are Tunisian simple stitches right there. So you have 4 loops on the hook. So you're gonna wrap and go through 1. That's your chain up, and then wrap and go through that one plus the next one. So 2, wrap, go through 2, wrap, and go through 2. Now, once we get going on this, you're gonna see why I chose to do this, because this is the strongest strap I can think of to do. And I was gonna do it sort of on the fly, like, so we're gonna hook onto the loop and then do it and then hook onto the other side of the loop, but I just couldn't figure out how to make it look so that they matched. So we're gonna do it this way, and then I'm gonna give you 2 different options to connect it to those hooks, or those loops, I guess. See, this does not stretch. Doesn't stretch this way, doesn't stretch this way. It is like, it's gonna be really, really strong. Okay, so pull up, wrap and pull up a loop, go through the front bar, wrap and pull up a loop, and then go through, it's basically a knit stitch, but you have 2 loops on that side. Pull up a loop, wrap and go through 1, wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2, wrap and go through 2. And you're just gonna keep doing that until you get it to the length that you want it to be, maybe a little extra. I'm gonna give you 2 options on how to connect this. You can either, when we get done making the strap, we can either connect it just like, you know, just go ahead and single crochet between the loop and this and across the bottom there, and then we'll just make an extra long thread so that we can weave the ends in multiple times and make it really strong. Or you can actually bend this through here and then single crochet it in the back, and then it'll be really strong. So it's kind of up to you how you want it to look. I'm gonna go ahead and continue with this until I get it to the length I want. I want my bag to kind of hang like a messenger bag, so I want this to go over my shoulder and then end up sort of right at my waistline. So that's what that's the length I'm gonna go for, but you can do whatever length is most comfortable for you. And then when you're done with it, I'll show you how to finish the end on the strap, and then we'll connect them, and then we'll be done. Okay, I'm back, I finished it. So I didn't really measure it. I just, it's like a crossbody bag, right? So I just did the strap from one hip up over my shoulder to the other side of my body, about the same area. And that's what it came out to be. So you can make it as long as short or as short as you like for your own body, but I'm just gonna do it that far. So I'm gonna show you really quickly how to finish this. Congratulations, by the way, if you've never done Tunisian crochet before, that's Tunisian crochet. Look at how thick and strong that strap is. That thing is not gonna stretch, and it's not gonna come apart. You have to take scissors to it to get it apart. So, okay, so to finish your little 3 stitches here on Tunisian crochet, you're just gonna do the simple stitch, Tunisian simple stitch right there. But instead of being like right there and being done, you're actually gonna go through that one right there. So you're gonna slip stitch to the end. Do it again on this one. And then do your little knit stitch on the end here. And slip stitch that to the end, and you are done with that. So go ahead and finish it off. And then you can weave your ends in. And then I'm gonna show you how to attach them. Okay guys, I'm running out of space for this bag, it's so big. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this from the back side. So this is the back, the front is the one that has the little up and down stripes on them. This one is, they both look really cool. So whichever you decide to do is fine, but just know that this is gonna face the inside so you won't see it. And then just line it up with that. And then we're going to just do like we did before. We're just gonna do regular single crochet across it. But give yourself a little extra tail, because we're gonna weave in those ends really, really good. We're gonna leave an extra tail on this so that you can weave your ends back and forth a couple times on both sides. That way it's a little stronger, because relying on just this one little 4 stitches or whatever is, you know, I mean, like, I would probably like it to be a little stronger if it were me. So the reason I did it this way instead of just doing it like as you go, like on the fly, is I couldn't get it to look right so that it matched on both sides. It always had like a front and a back. It just didn't look right. So this just seemed like the easier way to explain it to people. So you're just gonna do 4 single crochets around both the stitch and the metal. And then the inside of the single crochet that shows the actual stitches will be on the inside of the hook, so you're not going to see it as much. In theory, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here, because this bag is so huge, it's pushing the camera off the table. Okay, so that's what it looks like behind. This is what it looks like in the front. And here. So, and then you just end it and then weave your ends in so they're nice and strong, back and forth like a couple times. And then you should be all set. Okay, here we go. So this is the completed project. I am gonna show you a picture at the end so you can see the whole bag. And probably I will take a picture of it on me so you can see it hanging on me too. But look at how sturdy those straps are. Like, I am excited about that. And yeah, I just think that, and look at how big and beautiful. I'm so excited. It just turned out really good. You know, when you're imagining it in your head for a month and then you start putting it together, it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of what I was imagining. It worked out great. So I'm gonna throw some heavy things in it too and see if it'll hold it okay. So basically what we're gonna do next, I'm gonna show this in the end screen on picture so you can see it better, but I do wanna remind you that we have a couple more planned pooling projects coming up. And so if you're not into planned pooling, that's totally fine. This is my, I'm just kind of like, I've become obsessed with it, but believe me, I'm a Gemini. I'll be over it pretty soon and I'll be on to the next project. But right now, the next project I have planned is I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna take this apart and we're gonna do this as one of those cocoon sweaters. And I think I'm gonna need to take it apart and do like 3 sections wide. Based on the measurements that I have, because those cocoon sweaters are basically just a rectangle and then you build up off of it, right? So I'll be able to show you how to do that in your planned pooling. If you, like I said, this video obviously wasn't about the pooling itself, but what to do with a pooling piece that you made. But if you're interested in this part, learning how to do this part, I will link that video in the description. Also, if this somehow made you decide that Tunisian is the next thing you want to learn, I'll see if I can link I'll probably link that playlist. There's a few Tunisian videos on my channel as well that are a lot of fun. So lots of fun things there. I did want to take a moment to let you know that I have now become an affiliate for not only Amazon, but also, which has been going on for a while, but now I have added Dollar Tree and We Crochet, which is crochet.com, and then also I'm super excited, Lion Brand yarn. So if you are in need of yarn to do these projects, I will have all 3 of my links in the description including Amazon, so that you can go shop for yarn online. And some of it, I get a little bit of a kickback if you choose to buy off of that. It's no extra cost to you. And it just helps me buy supplies so that I can do these videos for you guys for free. So it's just a lot of fun. So if you want to support me in that way, I appreciate it. Thank you for doing that. If you don't want to support me in that way, but you want to support me in other ways, you can just like the video or share it or subscribe or whatever. All those things help. So, so that I can keep making content. Also, come and join us on my Facebook group called Ginell's Quarantine Crochet. And there we share lots of pictures of all the things that we create and we learn stuff from each other. And actually this was suggested to me by some of my Facebook group members, because I was like, okay, I have this really pretty panel. What do I do with it now? You know, so they suggested what to do with it. So we talk about all that stuff. So it's a fun place to be. Anyway, so I think that's it for now. I will see you on the next video where we'll be making a cocoon sweater, which I've never done on video before, so that'll be fun. And I will see you next time. Bye.